You shouldn't go on holiday. So, as you're most likely aware, most normal people, especially in Britain, every year tend to go on holiday somewhere. In the past, it used to be that they'd go on holiday somewhere within the UK to Blackpool or something. But recently, in the past 30 or 40 years, people have been going abroad for their holidays. Now, I can't see the appeal of this. I really can't. I mean, if you look at the screen here, you'll see that the average 9 night away holiday abroad for one person is 1 grand. And what are you going to do on holiday? What are you going to do? You're going to lay in the sunshine and have a drink. Well, I'm not being funny, but there's lots of days in the UK now where the weather can easily reach 25 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Celsius. The sun is shining, and you can just go down to your local beach for about 50 quid if you're inland. Or if you're close to the coastline, you can probably just pay the £2 cap bus fare to get your local bus down to the beach, and you can just sit on the beach. Or if you have a garden, you can just sit in your garden and enjoy the sun there and have a drink in there. And that's, apart from the cost of the drink that you would have paid for at the supermarket or whatever, that is completely free. I think the big thing with holidays is that people are expected to do it. And you see this a lot in society where when something becomes normalized and accepted as the normal thing that normal people do, people will just do it regardless of whether they think they should or not. You see this a lot in the workplace where, you'll have annual leave and you're expected on those 2 to 3 weeks of annual leave to spend a fat chunk of your salary going to Malaga and just sitting in a deck chair for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, one counter argument to this could be, well, I've got a family and we need to take the kids on holiday. The kids need to experience the world. And fair enough, if you are a family and you've got kids, then in that case, the kids could probably benefit a lot from, exploring the world at a young age. That's a fairly sensible one. But you see a lot of families and a lot of people going to these stupid holiday resorts, like on the Spanish coast or whatever, and it's just a beach. It's just a beach with some sunshine. You can get that in the UK. We're an island nation. We've got beaches. We've got sandy beaches around the place. Just whenever there's a hot day in the United Kingdom, which will happen at least once a year, just take your local train to your local beach. And this really, I think, is something that is rather overlooked. If you look in the financial community on YouTube and you look at videos where people are suggesting of different ways to save your money, one of the big ones is you should stop drinking lattes every day at Starbucks. And there's some merit to that. There's some merit because, those coffees cost a lot of money. But at the end of the day, it's nothing compared to these holidays that people go on where you just end up spending half of your salary sometimes just on these ridiculous holidays traveling around the world. And for what? In the modern era, most of the world's the fucking same now. Everywhere's the same. You go to Tokyo, New York City, Toronto, Rio de Janeiro. It's all the fucking same now. It's all just these modernist, glass and steel structures, these towers to globalism. And so, what's the point? Why would you spend 1 grand per person to go to a place that's not really that different? I mean, you might be able to go to like a quaint French village or something, in the south of France. But I'd say, well, what's wrong with going to a quaint English village? You can go to a quaint English village for 50 quid, or even just in your local area, take your local bus to one of your satellite villages around your town and, pay the £2 bus cap. And, you can have a drink there and just enjoy English culture in these English villages. I really don't see why so many normal people spend thousands and thousands of pounds going on these ridiculous holidays. The worst one by far is cruises. People who go on cruises, unless you're an old person and you're doing it to avoid the retirement home because it's actually cheaper to go on a cruise than it is to pay retirement home fees, unless you're one of those old people, why on God's earth would you go on a cruise line? You are locked in a metal box with a bunch of freaks, quite frankly, for a week, trapped at sea. And what are you going to do? You're going to go in the casino, piss away more of your money, go to the restaurant, piss away more of your money on overpriced food because you're a captive audience. You're going to sit in your cabin and listen to degenerates next door having sex because it's a cruise and they think, why not? We'll bang each other on the cruise. Yeah, I've seen videos of these cruise liners, and you see the videos where the people are left behind on the pier because they're late for the cruise. These cruises, it's like Lord of the fucking Flies or something. Everyone on there, it just becomes this barbaric animal who, they've formed this tight tribe almost because they're all trapped in this metal box together. You couldn't pay me to do that, and yet people out there are paying like £2,000 just for the privilege of being locked in a box for a week. You're not going anywhere on these cruises. These cruises are just aimlessly wandering the ocean, polluting the atmosphere. If you want to talk about global warming and things like that, what the fuck are these cruises doing? In general, I would say that coffee is a decent vice to have. If you want a luxury every day to enjoy your life, there's nothing wrong with a coffee every day. So all these channels like, oh, quit your lattes. No, especially considering that coffee and caffeine is productive. If you drink caffeine, you will be alert. It's like a very light form of cocaine in that respect, in that when you drink it, you'll be alert, on edge, and ready to work. It's the drug of the worker, and naturally in an economy, what's going to happen when you work? Well, ideally, you're going to make some money. Obviously, I understand a lot of people misuse caffeine and they don't really use it for that purpose. They just kind of drink it because it's an addiction. But if you can ritualize your caffeine, make it a part of your grind set, if you want to call it that, for earning more money, then you can almost see it as an investment. So to summarize, in my opinion, I think a lot of these channels that bang on about quit your lattes every day to save money, they should stop sniffing their own farts, and they should have a look at these absolute freaks who are spending, £3,000 a year to go and sit on a beach, which is something they could do for 20 quid if they live in the UK.